Hola Nerfers, me llamo Jay, and I'm going to be teaching you today, step by step, how to do a brass breech for the Longshot. I have my Genesis right here, which I'm going to be repainting, and I figured that this is the perfect opportunity to repaint it when I have it taken apart and when I'm brass breeching it. I have also in my possession a 10 kilogram Orange Modwork spring, which I'm going to be swapping with the springs that I have in there. So that's good, and you can buy the Orange Modworks 10 kilogram spring for the Longshot right here. I also will have a link in the description. I'll also be posting a link on where to get the brass from. The website I used was very nice and very cheap. I couldn't find brass in my area for some reason because people are stupid. So the first thing that you're going to need to do is you're going to need to get a bunch of things, because this is going to be a very advanced mod and it's not recommended for new modders. So what you're going to need is brass, first of all, in order to do a brass breech mod. You're going to need 4 different sizes. You're going to need 1/2 inch, 9 sixteenths, 17/32 and 19/32 brass. And I'm going to be doing this brass breech exactly like SG Nerf. I'm going to be following SG Nerf's brass breech mod guide to the letter, pretty much. So I'll also post a link down there if you want really detailed instructions as well as a video, because SG Nerf never did a video. They just wrote up a really very good guide on how to do it, but I don't know about you guys, but I, for one, am a very visual learner, and so this is going to be out of my comfort zone because I haven't seen anyone do a really step-by-step guide for this. So hopefully I will be the first to do that, and I will help you out with that. So you're going to need brass, a Sharpie, you're going to need measuring tape, you're going to need a pipe cutter, it's a little screwy thing. You're also going to need a rotary tool, so like a Dremel, or mine's called, it's by Chicago Electric Power Tools. The Dremel bit actually fits for this, and you got to make sure that the cutting bit is for metal. So you're going to need that. You're going to definitely need, if you're going to be cutting things with the Dremel, you're going to be needing safety glasses, and mine are already all scuffed up and scraped up from all the stuff that didn't hit me in the eye because it hit my glasses. So you're going to need electrical tape or duct tape, some tools. You're going to need screwdrivers to take apart your blaster and put it back together. Let's see, what else? You're going to need epoxy of some sort. I've got Loctite metal concrete epoxy, and it sets in 8 minutes. You're supposed to leave it untouched for 20 minutes, and it cures in 24 hours. And that should be plenty strong, I think. I hope. I'm not really sure. So we will find out. It's going to be a learning experience. Let's see, what else would you need? Oh, you're going to need hot glue and a hot glue gun. And I believe that's about it. So if I forget anything, I will mention it later on in the video. But that, and you're going to need sanding paper or I have a sanding block kind of thing, sanding sponge. So a sanding surface of some sort. So I'm going to go ahead and take my Longshot apart and remove everything from it and get to work. Okay, so step 1 was taking the blaster apart, and the blaster should look like this if it's a Longshot. Mine also has the Maverick integration, and I'm going to be taking everything out because I'm going to repaint this. The thing that I forgot to mention, which is kind of important for the relevancy of this video, is that this particular Angel Breech, the one that's to SG Nerf specifications, is specifically for unmodified Nerf stock Streamline darts. So this is for if you have a Nerf club like I do, which doesn't allow STEFANS. So these measurements are to fit regular Streamlines, which is very useful because most Angel Breeches were designed to handle STEFANS or slugs, but this is for regular Streamlines, which I'm very happy about. So I'm going to take everything out and then show you your next step. Okay everyone, so I've got everything out except this part, because this is the part I wanted to start with. So what you're going to need is a piece of 9/16 brass. I've got a foot of it, and it looks like it should be good enough. I don't know, I might end up trimming some off the front because I don't really like the look of brass sticking out the front of the barrel. But you're going to start with the 9/16 brass tube. It comes in, I ordered a foot long, and the foot is a perfect length. And so what you're wanting to do is you want to take the your tape measure and measure 8 centimeters from the edge of it. Let's see, centimeters. I hope this tape measure is in centimeters, because if it isn't, that could be a problem. Alright, so I'm going to measure this and get it straight. And what you want to do is you want to mark that with a Sharpie and then make like a half pipe mark. And then using your rotary tool, you want to cut that half off so that it looks like this, but facing the other way. So I'm going to measure it and mark it, and I'll show you what I do to cut it on camera in a sec. Okay guys, I've got my safety sombrero on and my safety glasses on, and I've got my rotary tool and my brass, and I have it all marked out. And so I'm going to go ahead and start cutting, and this is the part where it's going to get a little bit loud. And it takes a little bit, and maybe a tank top, well, probably wasn't the best choice of wear for this, but I'm going to put my shirt over my face because it's kicking up a lot of dust. So once again, pardon the noise. Well, and there you pretty much have it. It's not the smoothest at the moment. I'm going to really sand it down, and once I detach this little bit here, and you want to use a sanding bit and round out these corners here, and otherwise you'll have it eating up darts. I really hope that my lens is okay. I don't want to go and ruin my lens or something like this, but it looks alright. So I'm going to go ahead and sand things out and show you what it looks like afterwards. Well, ladies and gents, that's what it looks like afterwards. It's all sanded down, and it's not nearly as jagged now, which is good. So the next thing that you're going to do, according to SG Nerf, is you want to put, let's see, 3 tightening rings around the edge here. And in order to do that, you need this tool right here, which is a pipe cutter, but it can also be used to alter the shape of the pipe. So I'm going to do that now for you on camera, just to show you what it's all about. Let's see, a little bit larger. And the tightening rings help create a really, really good seal, and that's the entire purpose of the brass breech, is to create an airtight seal. And it really does, like just the brass on brass, I was playing around with it a little while ago. That by itself creates a fantastic seal. So you start with it just a little bit tight, and you kind of rotate it, and then as it loosens up, you tighten it some more. So I'm going to finish this off camera and show you what it's like once it's finished. I don't know if you can see clearly. Let me try and focus on this. There we go. Maybe. Okay. So they might be difficult to see, but I've got a few tightening rings on here, and it helps if when you it helps if when you put this on there, you actually tighten it down quite a bit before you start rotating it, and then you don't rotate it a lot. You want to tighten it down quite a bit and then rotate, and that kind of gives it this kind of pinched look, which is what you're going for. And it creates a very good seal, so I'm more than impressed. So for now, you're about done with this. So I'm going to set this aside for now and start working on the setup for the breech part. So for this part, first we're going to need to take this apart and focus the camera. We're going to need to take this apart and salvage the top part of this. And so I'm going to start taking this apart and preparing the next part of the brass breech. Okay guys, so what you need to do next is remove this, as much of it as possible. So I'm going to start cutting that. I'm going to cut it up, and you're going to need this part later as well as what's inside here. So after that, you got to take this apart. So pardon the noise once again. As you can tell, my rotary tool is kind of running out of juice. So this you're going to need later, but only the top part of it. And I'll show you that in a bit. This you want to cut down some more until there's about 1 centimeter left of the actual plastic breech here. And you're going to end up fitting a bunch of brass inside there. So I'm going to start cutting my brass, well, my Dremel charges, and then I will show you what to do next. Okay guys, so I've got most of my brass cut. I'm just about to cut the 1/2 inch brass piece, which will go in here, and it will be in the middle of the 19/32 brass, and that is pretty much going to act as a dart pusher, and it's going to push the dart forward, and it'll be okay because the seal will go all the way from the plunger tube all the way to the edge of the barrel, so you know it doesn't matter where in the breech the dart is because it's going to be a lot more powerful. One thing I will say real quick is that when you're cutting your brass, get some needle nose pliers, and after you cut each piece, with a little bit of force, push them down on the needle nose pliers and kind of rotate them because it kind of flares inward. And so here are the measurements that you're going to need. You're going to need 17 centimeters of 19/32 brass with 5.5 centimeters for the half pipe, half barrel thing. You're going to need 2 centimeters of 17/32 and 9/16, which will fit in each other like this. And then you're going to need 11 centimeters of 9/32 brass, which I will mark and cut off camera. And then what I'm probably going to end up doing is one after another using the epoxy that I have. I'm just going to slide one on top of another and let that set. And while that's setting, I'm going to be gluing that into this. And by the way, this was kind of a pain in the butt for me. Before I even cut the brass, I tried fitting it in there and it didn't fit. It was too tight, so I use the same flaring method with the needle nose pliers to kind of stretch out the plastic bit, and then I just kind of rotated it around and continuously turned it, and it kind of, because the brass was so sharp, just kind of ate away at the plastic until finally, you know, it poked its way through all the way. You know, so because I have an older model Longshot, I don't have any black internals in mine. Some people have black internals in theirs, and it works a lot better for theirs. It can just slide right in, but for me, you needed some force. And then what you're going to do is, once you seat all of them in there, you're going to hot glue around there to fill up the dead space. So I'll show you that in a minute after I get everything epoxied together. Alright everyone, so I've got my breech part cut out. I'm just waiting for my rotary tool to recharge its battery because it sucks. And then I will sand it all down and make it all smooth, and yeah, make sure everything works alright. In the meantime, what I'm going to do is reposition my camera here. Sorry about that. And open up the epoxy and start epoxying stuff together, starting with the 1/2 inch and the 17/32. That'll be the first to go together, and you want them as flush as possible. So give me a sec. I'm going to start mixing the epoxy, and I'm just going to use like the back of a plastic knife. Gotta open it real quick, so I'm going to open it with a pair of wire cutters if I could find them. As you can see, I'm not really the most organized person in the world, but I think that's part of my charm. So give me a sec to find my wire cutters. I just had them for something, and I don't know where they went. I have needle nose pliers, but there they are. They're hiding under my rotary bits. So I'm going to cut these open real quick, and just a little bit at a time should be good, I think. Let's see here. Come on, you son. Apparently these aren't that sharp. Oh, whoa, whoa there. Oh there, eager boy. Eager beaver. Stop it. Stop it. Well, this is something you definitely have to be careful of. Things coming out really fast. Okay, that was explosive. So I'm going to squirt a little bit out. And mix it together. Give me 1 second. It just won't stop coming out, which is pretty stupid. Stop it. This is different from the epoxy that I normally use. I normally use epoxy for plastic. So I'm just going to cap it. And like BP, hope it works. Although I might have just jinxed myself in saying that, because now I can't put the freaking cap on. Give me 1 second. I'll mix everything together and start applying it and show you that. Jeez, never had so much trouble with an epoxy cap. So I'm going to mix it all together, and it's kind of this gray color. You know, it's all gray and stuff, and goopy and very smelly. And this kind of stuff you don't want to be inhaling directly. It will kill you. Slowly but surely. So just a little bit on the 1/2 inch. Just a little bit all the way around. Spread it a bit. And hopefully that should be good. Find the smaller piece, the 17/32, and work stick that on there. Possibly. Let's hope. Oh, I'm having some trouble with that. Give me a second here. Still got my safety sombrero on. Pardon me. This is very tedious work and can often result in messing up. So be careful, and when in doubt, play it safe. Alright, so here I have it on, and a little bit of paper towel to wipe off the excess glue, or epoxy, or whatever you want to call it. Well, we could actually put some epoxy right on the other part, because next we'll be applying it to the outside of this anyways, because next we're putting on the 9/16 piece of brass. And it should fit right over like that. Ta-da! You wipe off the excess glue once again. And then you want to press it down a little bit to make sure that it's as flush as possible in there. And then you add just a wee bit more to the outside of this part, because then you're going to be putting this inside the 19/32 breech part. You just want to spread that around and then apply directly to the forehead. 10 points for anyone who gets the reference. And then you just want to make sure it's flush and then wipe off the excess glue. And that is what it should look like on the inside. Let's see here. Focus. See if we can zoom in on that. And as you can see, there's the 1/2 inch sitting right in there, right almost up to where the half pipe cut is. And that'll just push the dart forward right into the 9/16 barrel. So I'm going to let that sit for about 20 minutes so that it can set, and then I'll come back to it and sand everything down and then show you what you have to do next. Stay tuned. So here's what it looks like with it all set. In the plunger part that connects to the breech, I epoxied it in a little bit, and it's a little bit less than flush with the back of this here. And I'm going to fill it with hot glue and show you what that looks like afterwards. It's coming along pretty good, so I'm pretty excited so far. Like I said, I've got the Orange Modworks 10 kilogram spring right here, which you can purchase here, there, and down in the description. Not in the trash, the description. Description. Yeah. Okay, so anyways, so I'm going to go ahead and cut this top part off about from here to about here maybe. In the mod guide that SG Nerf did, he said that it made a lot more sense and it gave a lot more area for the epoxy to stick to than just cutting off this part. So I'm going to do that and show you guys that next. Okay guys, so everything's in place, and I'm just going to start filling up the dead space in here with hot glue. For the most part, and that is what it should look like afterwards. Let me focus the camera once again. There you go. See it. And then we're going to move on to the next step. The next step involves taking this cutting it off and epoxying it onto this. However, we can't do that quite yet because we still have to position things. So we're going to, so that would not be the next step, excuse me. So the next step then would be to start by putting electrical tape, layers of electrical tape around your 9/16 brass so that it will fit snugly and not move inside the barrel here. So then you can position it to judge the maximum forwards and backwards of this part. But that we will do in a little bit. For now, I'm going to wrap this up in some electrical tape if I could find it. There it is. Like I said before, I'm not the most organized, but I do what I can. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. So here's what it looks like. You need a lot more tape on the barrel part, and it's going to fit in pretty much perfectly. So now it's time to do a quick test fit. I've got two tape areas here, and you want to make sure that it's real tight on the barrel, and then you can just slide it in like so. I'm going to be removing this orange tip part for a little bit when I repaint the Genesis, but for now, for the sake of testing out the fit of it, I'm leaving it in. So here, what you want to do is you want to line them up and just slide everything together. And this is to note the maximum forward and backwards play with the barrel. Let's see if everything decides to fit in okay. And that's pretty much how far you want it to go. I'm hoping that it'll be enough. Let me see here. Well, let's first, what you want to do also is you want to test to make sure a clip will fit in well and have enough room and not interfere with anything. Let's see. It seems that it's a little too far, this part's a little too far back, so I'm going to push it forward and readjust it. And so this is the kind of thing that you have to do. And then also you want to mark where you want to mark on this where to put it so that, you know, you can put the breech attach or the bolt sled attachment on. So I'm going to do that and show you guys what that looks like afterwards. Okay. Okay guys, so I have everything seated pretty much properly, and so now what it's time for is some safety glasses, once again, my cutting bit, and what's left of the breech. And I'm going to cut it pretty much down to about here on both sides. So I'm going to go ahead and do that right now for you and show you what it looks like afterwards. And this is pretty much what you want. And it's important to note that you need to shave down the back part here so that it's very thin. But it's really just used for surface area because you need a lot of surface area. And it's important to rough up both the brass tubing as well as this with sandpaper or sanding sponge, whichever one you have. Sandpaper probably would have worked better because you can just wrap the sandpaper around the tubing and, you know, kill two birds with one stone. But this needs to be really roughed up because this is going to be taking all of the load from my 10 kilogram spring, so you really have to be careful. You know, I've seen people who just use like epoxy and epoxy putty and just take this part, and that would worry me a lot, so I wouldn't do that. Let's see if I can get a rougher grit sandpaper going here. So you really want to rough it up good. So I think, let's see, I really want to get inside there as much as possible. Let's see how it will fit on the brass. I might have to shape down a bit more because it doesn't seem to be fitting over the brass very well just yet. So I'm going to do that off camera and show you what it looks like after I've epoxied it on. Alright everyone, so it's round 2 of the epoxy, and now I'm going to be epoxying the what's left of the breech, the plastic breech, onto the brass breech. And I've marked out where to put it so that it lines up right there. And the easiest way to do that is to set it in there in the bolt receiver as far as it'll go forward, and then put this part in as far as that'll go forward, and that is where you want to put it. So I'm going to go ahead and make some more epoxy right now. I've got my epoxy making hat on. It's also my safety sombrero. So I'm ready to go. If I can open the epoxy. Before I couldn't get it closed, now I can't get it open. I'm just having a night tonight, I guess. So thank you for watching. If you continue to watch this whole time, I commend you. It is not easy watching a very long tutorial video, so I thank you for taking the time to watch my video. And to address a little comment I made at the beginning of the video, there are definitely other tutorials on angel breeches on YouTube. AC Nerf Shop did a very good job with their brass breech guide, but I felt like I wanted to do my own. Besides, I wanted to brass breech my Longshot anyway, so I figured that this is the perfect opportunity. So hopefully everything will work out okay. So I'm just going to let it sit, and I'll come back to you guys in a little while. Alright guys, so I've ground everything down on the back end here so that it's not as thick and it will slide easier. And now I'm just going to let it set overnight, and that's all I can do for now. So I'll come back to it tomorrow and put it back together for a little while to test fire it and then sand it all down and repaint it. So thanks for staying, if you stayed and watched this far, I'm proud of you. So thanks for watching. Hola everyone, this is the Fiesta finale of the Angel Breech mod guide, and here it is completely finished. This is my bare bones, only what's necessary for in the gun for right now, because I'm going to be taking it all apart, resanding it, and repainting it. Because of the half pipe mod, because of how it's cut, you can't really, you can't load it with the breech open. However, if you want to, you can make it a quarter pipe mod and just make the top part smaller, and I figure I might do that at some point if I really want to. I kind of like having the breech closed, and then you just it definitely takes 2 hands to prime now because of the 10 kilogram spring, which is just a beast. And I found that elite darts work well. So here's it firing, and this is I have no words. I have absolutely no words for just the intimidation factor of the brass breech on the Longshot. It's just ridiculously powerful, and I can't imagine putting any more power in it, putting like a stronger spring in it. I could not imagine. It just sounds ridiculous, and it's powerful as, you know, the spiciest Mexican pepper you can think of, to keep with the Mexican thing. Yeah, anyways, I do have to say though that I was encountering a lot of trouble with the receiver part here, the plastic part, and I shaved a bunch of stuff down, and I really shaved it down with my rotary tool on the breech part where I epoxied the plastic onto the brass, because that was creating a lot of friction in there, and you really have to play around with where the bolt receiver brass part goes and how far forward or backwards. So it's really a trial and error kind of thing, because this does have a tendency to eat darts sometimes. That's why Elites probably work the best, is because they're a little more rigid and new and not flimsy, as flimsy as regular Streamlines. But if you want to use regular Streamlines, you can do that. So I'm I don't even know if I'll be allowed to use this at Nerf Club, but even if I don't get to use it for my own personal use, I'm just super duper happy with how this turned out for my first Angel Breach, and things will only get better from here. I have one dart left, so I'm going to fire that off, and it's just ridiculous. So thank you very much for watching. I hope your Angel Breaches come out as well as mine did. If you have any comments or questions, don't hesitate to ask. And please subscribe if you like what you see, so I can keep making videos. And hopefully this summer I'll start doing some commission work, which would be very nice. So thank you for all the support that I've gotten from you guys so far. And I'm going to repaint this now. So, arriba!